Hey everybody, Gary here with Pow Music, and in this video I want to share with you the how and the why for mixing major and minor pentatonic and blues scales when we're playing blues-based music, and how to do this all over the fretboard. So just in those first 8 bars of Clapton's iconic solo on Sunshine of Your Love, which you saw me cover in the intro, he showed us 2 different approaches. The main one, and the most simple one that we're going to go over, is to take an idea or a fingering in minor and then just move it down 3 frets to play something similar in major using the same pattern. So I first discovered this way of switching between minor and major pentatonic when I first learned this solo many years ago, and since then I've seen a lot of other players do it as well, such as David Ryan Harris in this lesson I made a couple years ago. So here you can see he's in C sharp and he goes from C sharp minor pentatonic to major pentatonic.
What I said was
cool, right? So we're gonna go over how to apply this concept all over the neck and really deep on the theory of the blues, this mixing of major and minor. How we could take what he did, apply it all over the fretboard, not just the main pattern of the pentatonic, which is the G shape or E minor shape, if you're thinking caged, but also pattern 4, the C shape or A minor shape, and the House of Blues, which is the first 3 strings of pattern 2, or the E D minor shape, thinking caged. So for any of you that have been following my lessons for a while, you know that I'm a champion of these 2.5 patterns to spend most of your time mastering, because they're so finger friendly. There's so many great riffs and great solos that have been played within these shapes. But if you want to follow my step-by-step method, check out the Soloing for Complete Beginners course if you're just getting started. That's a great way to develop your phrasing, starting with just a few notes at a time and then building into these full patterns. And then the fretLIVE Fretboard Mastery Program, where you can really understand how music works on the fretboard, what all these intervals are all about, what it means to be in a key. And over the course of 12 units, you'll really develop your fretboard fluency, and each step of the way, you're applying what you learn to make music. So this lesson here, I'm gonna file into the song examples for Unit 5, which is all about the pentatonic scale. Also, the day that I release this video is the day I'm opening enrollment for the Fall 2023 fretLIVE Fretboard Mastery Program, and I'm gonna put a link for 15% off in the description for the first 15 people that join. Enrollment is capped at 45, just so I could give everyone individualized attention and feedback. So although the course was designed to be a live week-by-week program, you could also join the self-paced program, where you get instant access to everything for half the price, just without the added Zoom classes and student interaction. So the link to enroll is in the description, and you'll also see a link to the course trailer where you can learn more. If you want all my free downloads on the pentatonic shapes, the cage system, the link to all that is in the description. And for patrons, there's a PDF and worksheet specific to this lesson that you could download, follow along with, and take notes on. So this concept is gonna work anytime you're playing over a blues rock, blues funk, blues inspired pop music. We're gonna go in depth on when it's gonna work, when it won't work, exactly why we could mix together major and minor pentatonic, and why Sunshine of Your Love is like the perfect example of this mixing, because the main riff and bass line is minor. Clapton plays major chords, so we're going to talk about that. So first, let's just go over what Clapton did. So what happens is Clapton starts in the kind of D minor, pattern 1, G shape, E minor shape position on the G and the B string. And then he just moves his hand down 3 frets and plays a similar kind of riff or a similar fingering in the D major pentatonic. Now, what's also on display here is mixing major and minor in the same position. So yes, he did go from this position to this one, but he also went like this. Blue moon, I saw her standing alone. I don't know if those are the words. And in so doing so, he actually played a note from the major pentatonic, the major 6. When he hit that major 6 here, that comes out of the House of Blues of pattern 1. So watch this. Here's pattern 1. And here's the House of Blues, major House of Blues of pattern 1. Right? That little connection gives us a major 2nd, a major 6th, and a major 3rd. So Clapton, especially in these early years, mixing major and minor, he's got this little area of major and this minor. And then we can mix them. What did I do there? I went from the minor third to the major third. That's shared by both boxes. Then I went, that's minor, and then I went, that's from the major, this is from the minor. Right? So all of that's available. When we put it all together, we have, right? And incidentally, what that is basically the Mixolydian mode and the Dorian mode combined. Not to overcomplicate things, we're not going to think about this modally in this video. There's so many ways to get to the same destination. So thinking of mixing major and minor pentatonic for one person might be thinking of Mixolydian mode with an added minor third to another person, or Dorian mode with an added major third. Okay, so put that in your back pocket. This lesson, I could only do so much. I don't want it to be about everything. Here we're thinking pentatonic, the combination of pentatonic and blues scales. We're not thinking about modes. It's my opinion that most of the classic blues players were not thinking about modes. I think they were very aware of the pentatonic scales and of mixing major tonality, minor tonality, and chord tones. So let's take it more from that viewpoint instead of as modes. But some of the modes contain this collection of major and minor combined. So to summarize, in that intro, he gave us two approaches to mixing major and minor. One is to take the same general idea in one area and then move it down 3 frets to major. Right? And then the other is to see the major shape that lies within the minor shape. This is the minor shape. This is the major. And then here's the little opening riff. So we haven't even mentioned the blue note yet, which when we add that to the pentatonic scale, we get the blues scale. And the main riff for Sunshine of Your Love literally goes straight down the blues scale. Cool. So let's go over that now. So Sunshine of Your Love is basically just a D blues, and the main riff and bass line just outlines the D blues scale. The D blues scale is the D minor pentatonic plus a diminished fifth or a flat 5. It just has one extra chromatic passing tone, that middle note. Right, so here's the riff. Cool. Before we go any deeper into the theory, let's just field test this one idea. So I'm going to go back and forth between D minor pentatonic and D minor blues and D major pentatonic and D major blues over that little Sunshine of Your Love bass line loop. Then it's going to be your turn to workshop it for a few bars, and then we'll get back into the theory, talk about the whole chord progression of the song, and workshop this all over the neck. Here we go. Give it a try. Awesome. So first you might be wondering, how does that work? So when you're playing minor pentatonic with a low E string root note like D, when we go to the right and play this main pattern of the pentatonic, we get a certain mixture of intervals that create that scale. We have a root note, we have a minor third, we have a fourth, we We have a flat 5 if we're doing blues scale. We have a 5. We have a flat 7 or a minor 7. And then back to the tonic. And then it just repeats. 1, minor 3, 4, 5, minor 7, 1. Now, the major pentatonic, we replace that index finger with the pinky. So if we just go down 3 frets, 1, 2, 3. Now the pinky is on our tonic D. And now if we play the same pattern, we end up with these different intervals. 1, 2, major 3. We had a minor 3 on the other side in minor pentatonic. 5, major 6, 1. So here we have 2 very strong major intervals. 1, 2, major 3, 5, 6, and then 1. Right? So that major 3, that major 6. On this side, we had 2 strong minor intervals. 1, minor 3, 4, 5, minor 7, 1. So now you might be wondering, how do both work? How can we have a minor third and a major third together? Well, that is the whole sound of the blues. This tension and interplay between a minor third and a major third. So if we put together this tension and interplay between a minor third and a major third, and also this inclusion of a major triad with a minor seventh. So let me explain. If we had to play a chord here, so you might be thinking the chord that works here is probably a D minor, because the scale is D minor, minor third, it's basically a D minor chord, but it's not. It's not at all. A D minor chord is not the right sound. The right sound is a D7 chord. Or if you're Clapton, even just a regular D major chord. That's what he plays. So he's playing a major third while the riff has a minor third. This interplay between the major third and the minor third, or having both together, is a huge part of the sound of the blues. Our ear expects that. Our ear is accustomed to that. Okay, so let's explore that further. Now, it's not just a D major chord. I said a D7. So a D7, relative to the D, is a root. That's the D. Then we have a major third, a fifth. That's just a basic D major chord. And then a minor seventh. The minor seventh added to the triad is what we call a dominant 7 chord. So if I play that chord right here, we have the root, we have the fifth, we have the minor 7 major third. Right? So when we play minor pentatonic, we get 3 out of 4 of the chord tones. We get a root, a fifth, and a minor 7th. We don't get the major third. We get the minor third. But even Clapton goes like this. He bends that minor third, which is what you hear constantly in the blues, to this blue third. I'm going to call it a blue third because one of my favorite educators, the great Ted Green, called it a blue third. And a blue third is when we bend the minor third, not to the major third, but somewhere in between. That sound right there. So we really have like 3 thirds. We have the minor third, we have the blue third, and then the major third. Okay? So that's why minor pentatonic works over a blues that has a major chord. Because 1, the minor third and the major third can be together. You could bend the minor third to that blue third or to an actual third. And you have 3 of the other chord tones are contained there. The only thing that creates that dissonance is the third, but that is an expected dissonance and a dissonance that we know and love. Now on the major side of things, relative to this chord, we have the root, we have the major third, we have the fifth. The only thing we're missing is the minor 7th. So all the notes work, but it's very major sounding because it doesn't have the minor third and it doesn't have the flat 7. Going back and forth is the best of both worlds, right? Because then we get the basic triad, root, third, fifth. But then we also, if we come over here, get the flat 7 and the minor third, the blue third, right? So that is why major and minor pentatonic work. Now, really, the chord that encapsulates all of this is a D7 sharp 9. Don't be intimidated yet by the word sharp 9, or this one. So this chord, a D7 sharp 9, it's really just a D major minor. That's what it is. It's a root 5th, flat 7th, and a major 3rd and minor 3rd combined. Often called the Hendrix chord. Right? So here we have a root, a major 3rd, a dominant 7, and a minor 3rd together. Hendrix would do the... To me, that chord is the sound of the blues in a single chord. So there's this flexibility between the minor 3rd and the major 3rd. Now, one way we could make the major sound more bluesy is make it the major blues scale. By the same way this is the minor blues scale, this is the major blues scale. Why does it make it more bluesy? It adds a minor 3rd. 1, 2, minor 3, 3, 5, 6. Cool, right? All right, that is it on the theory. Actually, well, closing thought. If you combine the major blues scale and the minor blues scale, you get a total of 9 notes. So anyone that says the blues is just 5-note rambling, pentatonic rambling, they're totally wrong. It's actually 9 notes if we combine the 2 blues scales that we could use at any time, major, minor. And then on the 5 chord, when Clapton goes... Now on that chord, the 5 chord, often players are going to play the major 3rd of that chord. So what that means is that on a typical 12-bar blues, if we combine the minor blues scale, the major blues scale, and the basic arpeggio of all the chords, we have 10 out of 12 possible notes. There's only 12 notes in existence on our instrument. We have 10 of 12 of those. So B.B. King was someone that would really make use of all these notes in a way you didn't even realize it was happening. But if you listen to 12 bars of a B.B. King solo, you might hear all 10 of these notes, right? So here they are lined up. Root, which is in both major and minor pentatonic. Second, which is in major pentatonic. Minor 3rd from minor pentatonic. Major 3rd from major pentatonic. Fourth from minor pentatonic. Flat 5 from the minor blues scale. 5th from both major and minor pentatonic, 6th from the major pentatonic, minor 7th from the minor pentatonic, major 7th relative to the root of the key, to the tonic of the key, which comes out of the 5 chord, and then back to the root. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So anytime you're having a conversation with someone that says, you know, the blues is just so simple, it's just 3 chords in the pentatonic scale. No, blues harmony is actually pretty sophisticated. And that's why some players, you hear them and you're like, it sounds simple, but something, they're just so locked. Like it sounds simple, but they're just, mine doesn't sound like that because they're not just sticking to one pentatonic scale. They're thinking of the chord, they're mixing major and minor, there's arpeggio. All of that is available. Now, that's not to say that there's some blues scale that just goes, right? Because that is not going to sound like blues. All right, now that we're done with all the theory, from here on out, it's all playing. We're going to work on mixing the major and minor pentatonic and blues scale in pattern 4 and the House of Blues. Pattern 4 is the C, A minor shape. House of Blues comes out of the E, D minor shape. And then we're going to talk about mixing major and pentatonic over a full blues progression using the Sunshine of Your Love progression as an example. You're going to see me do all this, and then each step of the way I'm going to leave blank space with the jam track for you to do the same thing as we go along. All right, now let's try that with pattern 4 or the C, A minor shape. So those new to Cage, this is the C shape of a major chord, and this is the A minor shape of a minor chord, right? Those two triads and those two chords go along with this pentatonic scale. In my fretLIVE fretboard mastery program, we spent 3 weeks and 3 units, units 7, 8, and 9, on the Cage system. We start just with the chord forms, then the surrounding pentatonic scales, the arpeggios, then putting it all together to learn and create music. So check that out. Link is in the description. This would be the minor blues. This would be just the minor pentatonic. And then the major, we just move down 3 frets. And the major blues. We could also do that here. That would be major or minor. So now let's workshop that in pattern 4 and go back and forth between the two. I'll go and then you go. Now it's your turn. Okay, now I'm going to go up high. Now it's your turn. Yeah, okay, let's try the House of Blues. So back here. So on the House of Blues, if we go up one note, we get the blue note. So then the major blue note, it's going to give a little more minor flavor. Yeah, now it's your turn. All right, so now you might be wondering, okay, that was over one chord. So let's do it over a full jam track. I actually just went over this an hour ago in a Patreon session. Like how do the intervals of the D major pentatonic line up with the 4 chord and the 5 chord? We have a major 7th.
Yes.
If you play the major pentatonic of the key, we're not talking about switching scales for chords. We're just blowing over the key, major pentatonic, minor pentatonic. If we play the major pentatonic on the 4 chord, we're going to be playing a major 7th. With minor pentatonic, we're missing the strong 3rd, but we have the flat 7. Okay, so then we get to the 5 chord. So the 4 chord and the 5 chord, we could also think of as dominant 7th chords. So, D7 to G7 to A7. So on the 4 chord, playing D major pentatonic, you're playing the major 7th of that chord. But I'm going to freeze this frame on my goofy face for a second, just to say that if you listen to Clapton's solo over the song, over the 4 chord, he plays major pentatonic. And he's in the major tonality, but he does these cool like micro bends, half step bends. So let your ear guide you. Experiment with mixing the major and the minor over the whole chord progression and see what you like. The blues invites a lot of different approaches. It doesn't follow the same rules as regular diatonic harmony. So try things out, see what you like. That's what I'm gonna do right here. And then I'll leave some backing track for you to do it as well. And I'll link to the backing track in the description. All right, that's gonna be the last thing we do. So to summarize, mix major and minor when your tonic chord, your 1 chord, includes a major third in it, but it's a bluesy situation. If it's a bluesy situation and the 1 chord has a major third in it, then mix major and minor and it's going to sound good because it's cool and it's indicative and normal and our ear expects it to hear a minor third even over a major chord. The opposite is not true. So when it's a minor chord progression, let's say The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King. You know, it's in a different key, but over that minor chord, if I play major pentatonic, it's kind of weird. Right? All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. If you want to explore this topic more with me, we'll be going over this in my twice weekly hour-and-a-half live Patreon guitar hangouts. We get together like the Brady Bunch on Zoom. We all hang out with our guitars twice a week for an hour-and-a-half, and we practice together, we learn together, we explore concepts together, and you'll get instant access to everything I've ever posted on the site. Or if you've just gotten a lot of value out of the free content on this channel and you want to support it, that's another great reason to become a powmusic patron. All right, everybody, happy playing, and I'll see you next time. And before I go, I just want to extend a huge thank you to the following powmusic patrons: Jason, Shogun7, Nick P, Billy Paps, Pete Elliott, Sean Westfall, Wes Williams, Eric Pillez, Darren Jones, Dr. Ixlin, Andy, Dennis McNulty, Paul Weatherall, Hal Jones, T. Fletch, Dmitry Unkovsky, Greg, Joe, Wayne Evans, Jeff Lambert, Jorge Vaz, Jack Williams, Joe Prengle, LW, Dave Hubner, Fred Locke, Ruben Garcia, Kay Carter, Steve C., Jens Fischer, Joseph Alpert, Mu Zhang, Darren, Jonas, Jesse Jacobs, David McPherson, Michael L., Brent Owens, Andrew Gunthart, Jay Brilliant, Jake Martin, William Creighton, Donald James Grass, Chris Freeman, Stephen Pisano, Trampus Thompson, Kent Gresham, John Cushman, Baba Shetty, Derek Mickle, Sean Ellis, Jeff Weatherwax, Boomer Dell, and Joe Fleck. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of the powmusic patrons for helping to make it possible to provide all this free content here on YouTube. Thank you so much. Happy playing. I'll see you next time.